What is up, everybody? I am excited to be announcing the latest group tour that we'll be doing with the Vlogging Through History community, and it's one I've been promising for a couple of years, and we have finally pulled it together and made it happen. This is a custom tour you won't find anywhere else because I put the itinerary together myself. I planned the whole thing out to try and maximize seeing as much of the Western Front of the First World War as we possibly can in a week. So what I want to do in this video is just give you an overview of that tour, give you the instructions on how you can sign up to be a part of it, give you the link, let you know the costs and what's included and all that sort of thing, and to let you know as well that assuming everything goes well with this one and we get a good turnout, a good response from the community and enough people sign up, we'll probably add a second one with a similar itinerary sometime in 2027, maybe in the spring. But that's going to depend a lot on whether or not we're able to make this one happen. So let me just kind of walk through what we're going to be doing. This tour is going to start and end in London. Now, why London? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the tour company we're using, they're based out of the UK. It's the easiest way to do it, but also because we're probably going to have a lot of Americans traveling. London is just a very easy place to start this tour for Americans who might be flying in from North America. So we'll start in London. We're going to probably start at the Victoria Coach Station, though we're still working on exact starting place. It'll be in the city of London, be really accessible without having to rent a car or anything like that by public transportation. And we're going to start on October 25th of 2026. That's this fall. We're going to leave London. We're going to be on a coach. This is great because this is the largest group we've ever been able to do in a single group trip. We can take 44 people on this trip. Now, the trip has been available to patrons and members for a couple of days now, so we've already had 4 bookings. So there's about 40 spots that are still available on this trip. So we're going to start in London. We're going to be crossing the Channel. And then we're going to head over to our first couple of stops, which include a stop at I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, the Lisenhoek Military Cemetery. We're going to talk about the British and Commonwealth forces, how they commemorated the dead, the Commonwealth, first the Imperial War Graves Commission, and later the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. We're going to talk about the women and their role in the First World War, visit the grave of one of the prominent Army nurses and tell her story. Not a lot that first day except traveling to get to our location. And we're going to be looking at all the different armies, right? So we're going to be in Belgium. We're going to take a look at Ypres. And that first full day on October 26th is going to be primarily centered around the Ypres salient. It's pronounced Ypres in Belgium. It's in the Dutch-speaking, the Flemish part of Belgium, so you might often hear it pronounced Ypres or Ypres, but Y-P-R-E-S is the French spelling. They spell it I-E-P-E-R, Ypres, in that neck of the woods, but semantics. We're going to be visiting Essex Farm, which is where in Flanders Fields, that most famous of all poems from the First World War was written by John McCrae. We're going to see the dressing station that existed there, which was kind of a field hospital, the bunkers there. We're going to go to St. Julien, which is where the very first poison gas attack, happened on the Western Front. We're going to go to Langemarck and visit the German War Cemetery, which is massive and is an amazing visit. All of these places, with 1 or 2 exceptions on this trip, are places I've been, and they're phenomenal sites. There's 44,000 German soldiers buried there and airmen buried there. We're going to visit Tyncott, which is the largest Commonwealth War Graves Commission cemetery on the planet. Largest British war cemetery anywhere. Incredible place, again, to visit. We're going to go, that's on the Passchendaele battlefield, so we're going to be visiting those sites. We're going to go to Hoog Crater Cafe, which has an amazing museum, one of my favorite museums that I've visited on the Western Front, and we'll check that out. We'll get to see some World War I trenches there. Then we're going to go down to Messines Ridge, which if you've ever seen Beneath Hill 60, or any of those movies that deal with the mining operations, Messines Ridge is where a lot of that is centered. We're going to visit the Bayernwald, which is the Bavarian woods. That was where Adolf Hitler served in 1914 and 1915. It's German trenches that have been excavated, and some of it has been reconstructed. Again, a great spot. And then we are going to go to Hill 60. And we'll end that evening with one of the most powerful experiences that you'll have on this trip, which is participating in the Last Post Cemetery at the Menin Gate in Ypres. It's an emotional place. I teared up big time the first time I visited there. So it's a really full day, and these are all going to be full days like that. So day 3 of the trip, we are going to be heading to Vimy Ridge. Now we're going to be talking about the Canadians, who pound for pound might be the best troops on the Western Front. And we're going to see where they had great success at Vimy Ridge in the spring of 1917. We'll see some of their preserved trenches and some of the mine craters there. And then we're going to head down to the Somme battlefield, which is probably my favorite battlefield on the Western Front. We're going to go to the Tommy Cafe, which I've eaten at a number of times. Really cool. It's like this British Army-themed cafe that's got great food and has all kinds of stuff on display that they have found on the battlefields. Then that afternoon, we're going to go to the Lac Nagar crater, which is this massive crater that was caused by one of the mine explosions on July 1st, 1916. We're going to go to the Sunken Lane and Hawthorne Ridge, which is another crater, and then Beaumont Hamel, which is the preserved section where the men of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment attacked. One of the saddest stories from July 1st, and it's one of, along with Vimy Ridge, is one of the Canadian National Memorial sites on the Western Front. That night, we're going to go to Thiepval, which is the memorial to the missing of the Somme, and then we'll stay in Albert that night. And then the next morning, we're going to wake up and we're going to do a little bit more at the Somme. We're going to be talking about the PALS battalions. We're going to go to the battlefield of Serre, which is where units like the Accrington PALS went into action. And to this day, my favorite video that I have ever made was my video about the Accrington PALS. It was filmed at that site on my first visit to the Somme. So we're going to go to that site and visit the Sheffield Memorial Park, talk about those Northern England PALS battalions and how badly they suffered that day. And then we're off, and we're going to head to Compiègne, which is where the surrender, the armistice, it was a surrender. They called it an armistice, but it was really a surrender, where the armistice was signed in a rail car. And we'll see not the original rail car, which was destroyed in World War II, but another car that was in that same train that looks very much like it, that they have on display there, and you can get a sense of what that rail car looked like, and you can stand in the exact spots where that armistice was signed. From Compiègne, we are going to head to an American battlefield, and if you're a Marine or you know a Marine, you know Belleau Wood. We're headed to Belleau Wood. We're going to visit the cemetery, the chapel, the battlefield site, and then we are going to head to Chateau Thierry, which is this massive American memorial that we'll visit before we stay in Reims for the next 2 nights. From there, day 5, we are headed to the French battlefields. We are going to go to Verdun. Verdun is unlike any place you've ever visited in your life. We're going to visit Fleury, which is one of the villages that died for France. It was a village that was utterly destroyed by the fighting in Verdun in 1916, and you can see just how devastating that was to that community. We're going to go to the Douaumont ossuary, which is that massive bone building where you can look in the windows and see the piles of bones, of the mixed bones of soldiers from Germany, from France, from the British Commonwealth, from the United States, from others. It's a sobering sight to behold. We're going to eat lunch in Verdun, and then we are going to head to Fort Douaumont and Fort Vaux, which are these massive forts that were built in the years leading up to the Great War, and just incredible sites to visit as well. You're going to hear me say that a lot. We are really packing it in. Day 6, we're going to go back to the American sector. We're going to be looking at the Meuse-Argonne offensive. To this day, this is the largest battle ever fought by the United States Army. More than 1 million men were involved in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, 47 days. About half the battle deaths for the entire war by the American armies were suffered during the Meuse-Argonne offensive. So we're going to go to Montfaucon, which is where the massive Meuse-Argonne American Memorial is. You can go up into the top of it, and you can see some of the defenses that were there where men really struggled to take that hill, which was covered with German machine gun positions. We're going to visit the Meuse-Argonne American Cemetery, which is the largest American cemetery anywhere in Europe, larger than any of the World War II cemeteries. And we'll talk about some of the stories there. We're going to visit Romagna, which has an incredible war museum in the afternoon, and then we're going to go to Vauquois. If you've seen, I've done 2 videos from Vauquois. It's probably the most mined site anywhere on the Western Front, just explosion after explosion. The mines are still there. I've gone down into the mines. We're going to visit that area, which is just a surreal visit to see those mines there. And then we're going to head to the Champagne battlefields. The Man de Messige, which is a place I haven't been to yet, but I'm told it's absolutely incredible and one of the best sites for seeing World War I trenches that you've ever visited. And I can't believe I haven't been there yet, but some of my friends have told me it's just absolutely incredible. Day 7, we're going to be heading back home. So that we'll head back to London, head back, if London is your home. But we're going to wrap it up there. So that's going to start October 25th. It's going to end October 31st. So let's talk about the cost. The cost is $2,300 US, and that will cover all of your hotels. That will cover all of your breakfasts. That will cover 1 dinner and I believe 1 lunch as well. It'll cover our incredible tour guide that we're going to have. We're going to have a tour guide from one of the top World War I tour companies in the world. I know some of these guys. They're amazing. They're people I go to when I have questions, when I'm doing research for my own trips. So I know that they know their stuff. When I talk to them about it, they asked me if I just wanted to be my own guide. But I said, you know what, I'd really like to have one of your people. And if I can add and help and assist in any way, I'll do that. And I'm going to be bringing a bunch of artifacts that belonged to soldiers that fought in some of these places. Helmet and binoculars for a guy who was in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, a Bible that was carried by a guy, some medals, and we're going to visit some graves for guys who were killed, for whom I have artifacts that they carried with them or that belong to them. And so that'll be what I'll be adding to all of this, is kind of adding that human touch as they're telling you the big stories of what happened in these various places. But that'll get you everything except, so from the time we leave London to the time we return to London, everything's covered with the exception of most of your dinners and most of your lunches, which will be a separate thing. But right now, in order to book your spot, you just need a $500 deposit. We have a payment plan in place for that, and you can read all about that. Click on the link. You can download the brochure and read through everything I just told you about yourself. And you can, for $500, you can book your spot, and then the rest can be due in installments over the coming months. And then we will meet up together on October 25th. We have to have at least 24 people book this in order to make it valid. So if for some reason we don't meet that 24 by the deadline, which I believe is like June 1st, then we'll cancel it and we'll have to refund everybody's money. But as soon as we hit that 24, it'll be confirmed and it'll be definitely a go, but we can have up to 44 people for this trip. So if you have any questions at all about the tour, about the things we're doing, about the process for booking or anything like that, just comment on this video and reply to that, and I will do my best to answer those for you. Our patrons and members, I posted the link for you a few days ago, and you've got a discount code for $100 off of the tour that you can use to get this, and it's only $2,200 for you. So look forward to seeing you on the Western Front. Thanks.